All right, so we're here with Brian Deegan. What do you got going on, man?
Well, it's cool to be here at Monster Cup another year, and it's always exciting to kind of see what's going on in Supercross. But really came up here. I have a new film coming out. It's a documentary, something I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's a story on basically where I came from, a story on my life, coming from a small town, going against all odds, taking a chance, leaving home with no money really, and going to California, chasing my dreams of Supercross and motocross, and then going from there to, that not working out for me after everything and trying super hard, and then turning into freestyle motocross, taking big risks, a lot of injuries, and a lot of near-death experiences there. And through that time, having my daughter Haley, getting married, having Haley, and trying to balance that along with my career of still trying to stay on top of the game, and then multiple injuries. I think the near-death experience was definitely a life-changing moment, and so then the story carries on from there, changing into car racing and doing things a little more family-focused to raise Hayden, which is Danger Boy in moto, and Hudson, who's still young trying to figure it out. But it was just telling a story of a small town kid going against odds and fighting battles along the way of like the corporate way of things trying to control and rebelling, going into freestyle and action sports, and how I made it work. It's so many different levels, yet didn't make it work at levels too, so it's a really motivational story of how to go against the grain, start with nothing, basically fight for what you believe in, and in the end, it ends kind of to where I'm at today, which is just the beginning of a whole new chapter of Hayden, Haley, Hudson, so I think it's it's just a cool documentary, and it basically comes out on the 16th here in a few days on Tuesday. It will drop on iTunes.
So it's on iTunes? It's
on iTunes, just under Bloodline. So, obviously the title goes about the family and what's coming and what has happened and what's coming down the road. So that's kind of the Bloodline title, and then it goes, like I said, it's downloadable on iTunes even now. You can download it, but it releases on the 16th. So I think it'd be cool. I think a lot of people are going to dig it. It kind of give you a different outlook on who we are as a family.
And you've been through some ups and some downs. Do you look into it is it a really honest look at your career and how you went through a lot of those struggles along with the glory?
I would say it gets into detail on quite a few things. Like a lot of subjects I think people don't know, and I won't give it all away, but basically, my family life as a kid growing up, my mom left when I was 12, never saw her again for many years, so my dad raised me, and that changed me, that hardened me, and it gets into that story of like, why was I the militia guy? Why was I the dude at that era that really was mad and against everyone, and I think it really had a lot to do with that story. So I get into those stories of family where I think people are dealing with that now. I think a lot of people deal with that, so I touch on subjects, not just, I'm a crazy dirt bike guy, and a lot of things that people are going to have a hard time to associate with. I think, I get into detail on more common things,
Sounds awesome. Sounds like you're pulling the curtain back on the facade, which you had one of the biggest ones going through there, and and I know you were tight with you were friends with Tyler. And I would assume a lot of the same struggles he probably.
Absolutely. You got to think, and there's many guys in our group, not just from freestyle but from motocross, and dealing with this fame and fortune and injuries, and it's just a tough circle, a tough thing to get involved in. And then you get out of racing and you're like, what do I do? I don't have really any skill set besides moto. I dropped out of school, I don't have education, my body's so beat up, now I'm hooked on pills, or whatever your story is. I've seen that story many times. And have I been in that story? Absolutely. That's exactly the story I fought for many years. And so to be able to pull out of that, and I do talk about that, I do talk about that stuff. So I know, we'll see. I think people are gonna dig it because it's just more raw, and it's not just it's not a riding movie. It's a movie of motivation and family and just overcoming obstacles. Really is what it is.
And we are here at the Monster Cup, and a lot of people were asking Moto X addicts, When are we going to see Hayden here?
Yeah, everyone asks. I think because of social media and because Hayden's skill set of him, going against the grain and saying, you know what, I'm not going to raise my kid to do moto, I'm going to raise him to do supercross. And that's where I put him on a supercross track at a young age. And he, small, and he graduated each time and got bigger and bigger with the track. But that's why I think people are like, when's he coming? He's 11. Like, he's so far off still. But people, he's saying he's like, as far as his age, he's still got a time, but he looks really advanced because of what we've done with him, right? As far as that's what I think people see, this kid that's scrubbing and fast, blitzing whoops and rhythms. Really, he could race Monster Cup in probably, honestly, another year from now, I'd say, on a super mini, but that would be pushing it. He's still young, so he's got time.
He rides with Talon Hawkins quite a bit, who is racing here tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, so Talon's one of his training buddies, and Talon comes to our house once a week, rides Supercross, on our track, and Hayden goes to his track and rides. And I think Talon will do good. He's one of the kids that focused on Supercross. I think he'll be comfortable out there, and I think it's cool because Hayden's cheering on his buddies, and I know it eats at Hayden because he wants to ride, but I'm all about doing things at the right time. There's no rush for him. I feel like he's got time. Why rush him into something?
Yeah, I have to tell you, it's funny seeing the general of the Metal Mulisha with this rational thought process on raising your kid. It's pretty cool, dude. So you come full circle. That's awesome.
No, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.